And we're live. Welcome to another episode of Pepakura Tuesday. This is our weekly Tuesday live stream where we talk about Pepakura. We talk about unfolding Pepakura models for foam. We do some unfolds, and we take a lot of questions while we do it. So thanks so much for being with us. This is going to be a lot of fun this week. We got something really special. I was actually sent this model by a fan. Good evening, Melvin, who has become a patron, Landon STR. Who asked me to take a look at it, and he also wanted to take a stab at unfolding it. So I've got a video of him unfolding his version of it, and we'll take a stab at unfolding our version of it. This is, of course, a Republic Commando helmet as part of our ongoing love affair with all things troopers. We got some other stuff for you here tonight, so stick around. This is going to be really fun. Oh, and if you're here for full Stormtrooper armor templates, I have a link for that down below in the description, I believe. So if you're just here for that, it's there. But for now, let's dive in, stick around, and we'll do some unfolding. So first, I thought it'd be really cool to unfold this ourselves and then take a look at what Landon did to see where we landed. Now, I actually have cheated a little for this live stream because I know I've got a lot to get through. I went ahead and already started doing the cut line edges. For those of you who've never used Pepakura before, you can sort of specify what you want the model to do between the 3D window and the 2D window before you even start manipulating the 2D window. So I go to edit mode under 3D menu and specify cut line edges, and this is sort of how I make the magic happen. I think I want to separate this as its own piece just for now. It's kind of a weird shape, but we're gonna see. Let's see. Take that, this there, sort of keystone piece right here, and there we are. It's good to be back. I know that the Pepakura live streams haven't sort of dipped, but we definitely dipped on Mando time, which, you know, is sad, but I'm really excited to show off some progress that we're making tonight and tomorrow over on Thursday night's live stream. But it's just good to be back in sort of a groove of things. I've got so many things on the bench right now. I've got like these Fate helmets. I've got some cyberpunk stuff that I'm working on. It's pretty nutty. But this is really kind of where my heart's at tonight. So let's dig right in. I'm actually gonna want this here as sort of a flat for this to lay on, I think. Yeah, just like that. And then we'll keep this around the top edge here. We're gonna split this down the center because it is symmetrical left-right. There we go. Yep. And then I don't see myself being able to do this in just a two-piece dome. That feels a little excessive for how intensely domed this shape is. I think I'm actually going to make some minor edits to this because I'm seeing it kind of follows this contour pretty well, and then it just abruptly stops right there. So I think we're going to go like this. Sinner did a pretty good job with this model. It's a little low res for my taste, and I'm going to talk a little bit more about that in a little bit. But I think if we go to edit model and we just divide this edge. Boy, that didn't quite work, did it? Why is this not showing up? There's definitely an edge there now, but it doesn't want to show it for some reason, which is weird. So I'm just going to divide it there as well. And that just splits that edge right there along this. And that's sort of how I'm going to get away with turning this into a 4-piece dome, is like this. I actually might even smooth this out a little bit. We'll go to edit mode, subdivide edges, and then I'm just going to go along this particular piece on both sides and just smooth that piece together so that it's a little bit clearer of a pattern along the outer edges of the pieces. So if I go like that, that's much better. And it doesn't matter that there's kind of pointy bits in the middle. If it looks like it's not going to go together well, we'll adjust that. But I do kind of like where we're at with this already. And I think we're just about ready to start manipulating in the 2D window because of all the work we were able to do in the run-up to this. I think the only weird thing that's occurring right now is we've got sort of this funky shape across here, which we are going to break up, I think, like that. Yep. Just like that. Here we go. Hope everybody's having a good week. Hope everybody had some good holidays. Good holidays. It's been quite the season for it. I'll say that. Here we go. Oh, the year was 1778. How I wish I was in Sherbert now. A letter of marque came from the king to the scummiest vessel I've ever seen. God damn them all. I was told we'd cruise the seas for American gold. We'd fire no guns, shed no tears. Now I'm a broken man on a Halifax pier, the last of Barrett's privateers. Oh, I'll sit Barrett, pride the town. How I wish I was in Sherbert now. For 20 brave men, all fishermen, who would make for him the Antelope's crew, God damn them all. I was told we'd cruise the seas for American gold. We'd fire no guns, shed no tears. Now I'm a broken man on a Halifax pier, the last of Barrett's privateers. On our 21st day we sailed again. How I wish I was in Sherbert now. I forgot the words. Shanties are hard. Here we go. I'm going to smooth out the inside of this just because, yeah, that looks way nicer. Okay, now we're getting somewhere. Yep, I think that's about where we're going to end the 3D work on this. We are going to click unfold. We unchecked auto because we're going to manually set this not to 33 inches. Holy hell. Let's say 11, because I mean it's big, but it's not like it has a fin like the other stuff. There we go. No, we don't care about avoiding pages. Oh, and I am going to click print and paper settings and letter because I'm a filthy American. Here we go. That'll be fine. Okay, look, you can already kind of see the pieces made out here. It's pretty clear actually. So let's just make it a little cleaner. We're going to keep the outer edges on all of the... Why am I not seeing all the lines? What am I missing? Oh, it's hiding some of these edges. There we go. We want to see all of those because... Morning from Jakarta. Well. Thank you for joining us from Jakarta. Very exciting, that. I know we have some fans in... We have some fans in, I want to say, the Philippines, as well as Brazil. I've met some very fun folks from Australia who follow the channel. So, I mean, welcome from Jakarta. Super exciting. Ain't that just exciting? Here we go. Okay, so we're just going to add the edge to around the entirety of this visor here so that when we were to layer the visor in, there would be sort of a flat for it to sit on. Yeah, just like that. And I'm not totally certain, given the way the game represents it, whether this is visor or just more helmet. But I'm gonna leave it like that because I do think the shape is quite pleasing. So then we've got this right here, which is sort of... Oh no! What a bummer! Okay, so I'll have to split this down the middle, which is unfortunate, but not the worst thing in the world. There we go. Again, sort of adding these inner edges as sort of flaps that we can use to layer these parts together. Whoops. Hello, Mateus. Okay, here we go. Now we're getting somewhere. Okay, we'll take that. And just like that, the faceplate's kind of together. I'm going to sort of take this piece, which actually this came together even smoother than I expected it to, frankly. I'm really glad that I went through and smoothed out those edges, because now that line is extremely smooth. You'll note there's still some like gap there, and that's okay, because when we eventually go to 2D menu join adjacent edges, it'll smooth those back together. But the point is to create small gaps that we exchange for the larger gaps. Okay, and I bet I can sort of match it on the inside with this. Yeah, that's pretty close, and I think that's really the important thing here. Actually, I'm going to trade this one on the inside there, because this gap is closer in size to this gap and that gap. So I think that'll be better ultimately. It's a long way down. It's a long way down to the bottom of the sea. There we go. Wow, this is coming together very nicely. I won't lie, I expected this model to put up more of a fight than it is. I really thought this was going to be more of a head scratcher, and it's not. It's actually coming together very, very cleanly, and I cannot say I'm unhappy. So, hey, Jordan. Happy to have more people on the stream. Very exciting. Hope Landon pokes his head in. I'm very excited to see where he took it. And that's part of the thing I love about these streams, is that it really is about it really is about trying to learn and, you know, do these things even better, because I think the entire community benefits from having lots of people who are really good at unfolding. There we go. That's that there. Yeah, no, I remember Jordan. I try to make a point of remembering fun people who show up on my streams. I forget, weren't you? You're stateside too, aren't you? For the life of me, I'm not recalling exactly where, but hope you're staying safe in some weird old times. Oh yeah, that's right. This piece is really, really clean. Okay. Yes. I want this here. I want this here. Oh yeah. That's some straight up Minnesotan right there. Oh, you're in Hawaii. Holy cats. That's interesting. Wasn't there an earthquake in Hawaii just recently? Or am I totally botching this right now? Okay, here we go. Here we go. Join these adjacent edges real quick. Yep, that'll be pretty clean. I'm comfortable with that level of gap being closed. I want to keep this separate. Yep. You don't know? How do you not know? Hang on. Earthquake, Hawaii. There was a 3.0 earthquake on the Richter scale like 3 days ago. Yeah, there's just been a lot of small earthquakes, I guess. Crazy. Oh. Well, thank you. Thank you for keeping me in the know there, Jordan. Very much appreciated. I won't lie, I've got some patrons who interact with me on multiple platforms, and I have 100% misidentified them as like not patrons in the past, just because you get in this groove of like trying to bring more people into the fold of like watching and just kind of enjoying, because that kind of stuff. But oh, hello, Mateus. You want to make the Clone Trooper Phase 1? Sweet. I haven't tested those patterns yet myself, but just based on how clean a lot of these other troopers have come out, I'm pretty confident that it's gonna be pretty easy, frankly. I think 5mm foam is pretty good. I tend to work mostly in 6. It's almost an imperceptible difference, but I'll throw that out there. I think that generally, though, 5 to 6mm should be good. Just consider that if you... the way I construct a lot of things is I layer them, which means that the thickness doesn't really matter because I'm just adding layered places for me to glue. But if you plan on doing any edge-to-edge joints, you may want to use a thicker foam, like an 8 or a 10 even. I know in my recent Cylon build, which I've got a video coming out, it's almost done. In my recent Cylon build, I used an old floor mat. Actually, I used to use floor mats a lot more often, but I used a floor mat to get the ooh, oh, that is not the piece that I thought it was. To get an extra sort of thickness to the faceplate. So, and that's because I want to do edge joints. That's absolutely true. That's absolutely true. So if for any edges that meet at not, or like a 90-degree angle, you don't want to just glue to glue. You're going to want to cut those inward so that when you put them together, they create sort of a corner. Knuckles. Here we go. Okay, so these are recesses of the cheek. What am I missing? Oh, this can be tacked onto here, actually. Ooh, that's a much tighter angle than I thought it was going to be. How well is that going to join together? It is not. Okay. Is it better the other way? Math says it shouldn't be. Yeah. Okay. Okay, well, I guess that will just be a separate piece. And the curvature will just oppose, and that's okay. I'm good with that. When you use floor mat, how do you sand the texture off? I actually don't tend to sand the texture off if I don't need to. A great example of this is actually, this was a piece I did in college. I had a lot of fun doing it, but the sides of this are actually all floor mat. You can see on the inside a little bit. Let's see if it's bright enough for you to see in there. Yeah, you can see that's all floor mat in there, and all I did was I just chamfered the inner edges, or chamfered? I think it's chamfered. The inner edges so that you don't see any of it, but it's still in there. And actually, one of the things I love about that texture is it's there for its like tension. Like it adds to the durability and it keeps it from getting too warped. So if you do a good job heat forming, it'll help keep it in place. Cheap belt sanders. I don't know if I can speak to cheap belt sanders super well. My belt sander was actually a gift. It was a birthday gift from my beautiful and wonderful fiance. But I will say that we got a steal on it. It was from Harbor Freight. I don't know if Harbor Freight's a nationwide thing, but Harbor Freight is the universal purveyor of cheap goods in my neck of the woods. So it's got a big a large selection of lots and lots of things that are just all right. So in terms of a belt sander, that was really great for me because while it might not be the best thing for, say, an actual like carpenter woodworking project guy, I using it for foam get a lot of good use out of it. when I do decide to take it down. I actually keep it up for the most part because I tend to make my construction. I tend to plan my construction in such a way that I don't need it too much, but when I do need it, it's a really nice tool to have. Okay, let's see here. So this. That's okay. I'm actually going to do this. Do something slightly different from the rest of my trooper builds because I know that this is a slightly more jagged model. I'm going to take that, take this, and I'm just going to make them separate pieces for the time being. Here's the thing about that, Mateus. I think that Jordan isn't wrong. I think that it might be a little bit of a challenge. Like my little brother has recently become. Oh, take care. My little brother has recently really upticked in getting to mess with foam and sort of enjoy the craft, and he has really come a long way. He's doing some really amazing stuff with it right now. But he has, I think, benefited from being ambitious, and when things aren't perfect, finishing them anyways, not necessarily 100% perfect, and then either going back and doing them again. Hey there, dude. Either going back and doing them again, or just learning from that experience. So if you want to make a Phase 1 Clone Trooper helmet, by all means, make a Phase 1 Clone Trooper helmet. Because the worst thing that happens is that you end up making another one later. And I would not say that that's a particularly sad thing, frankly. There we go. Okay, so then we got this piece right here. Curved undercuts tend to go poorly, so I'm actually going to keep those separate there. And then we've got 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and then what's going on here? What's this? Oh, I think that this is actually something that we would make flaps. So we're going to take this, go like this. Oops. Sorry, I just want to make sure I'm following this correctly. Glad to see you're on board, and glad to see so many people showing up. This has been a very good time already. So I am very excited. There we go, we want that there. I'm actually going to keep that separate for now. That's okay. Yeah, because we want to layer that onto it like this. Look at that. That'll be super easy to put together, actually. Ooh, I really like the way that looks. Okay, that should be good. What's going on here? What's this? This is... Oh, that's on top of there? Question mark? Okay, well... We'll just throw those on there. That makes sense, yeah. Yes, that makes sense. There we go. Whew. Sorry, I was a little confused there for a moment, but now I see how that goes together. And then these I'm keeping separate, I think. Yeah, we're going to keep that separate. And now I should be able to join Jason edges. Yep, that looks pretty good. And I'm actually just going to rejoin some of these. And I do something that I don't tend to do normally, which is basically just leaving some pieces together here, but sort of ending darts in the middle of them. For those of you who see me before, You'll note that I don't tend to leave darts in the middle of pieces because I think they're really ugly. They tend not to go together super well. But I think that's actually going to be one of the best options here. Oh, and then, I should actually add these pieces all around here. Nope, not there. Here. Right, there we go. Back. Oh, really? Okay. There we go. I am fully aware that what I'm doing right now doesn't visually make a ton of sense, but it will in a moment, I swear. Okay. Six weeks out. No future was there in London for a poor man's son like me. So I left my home and went to seek my fortune on the sea. I signed aboard a merchant ship bound for the West Indies, and 6 weeks out we packed into the winds of piracy. There were sails on the horizon, and we tried to make a run. But when we saw that black flag, then our running it was done. And when those pirates boarded us, they told us one by one, you can die or join our crew, me boys. Time flies when you're having rum. Time flies when you're having rum, me boys. Time flies when you're having rum. When you're sailing under the black flag and you're firing all your guns. When you take a Spanish treasure ship, you divide by the rule of thumb. The voyage will be over soon enough. Time flies when you're having rum. Here we go. Okay. So you'll note there are some minor things that look kind of funky here, but when you see the way the patterns are sitting, it makes more sense. So we're just going to join adjacent edges again. Oh, whoops. Nope, I don't want those edges to join. That's not good. There we go. Now we'll join that. Sweet. So now we can just go through and erase some lines. This has actually been one of the fastest unfolds we've done here, I think. So let's go ahead and take the texture off for a moment. I've unclicked cut lines so that I can sort of grace through cut lines without needing to avoid them. There we go. And I'm basically erasing all the lines except the line delineating between the extra space around the visor. Now, I do know that there are people out there who don't really do this step, and that's totally fine. But I will say, I think it makes your templates a little more idiot-proof. Because I could just ratchet this down until all the pertinent lines are just available, and that's pretty good. But I like not having to worry about it, frankly. Okay, so let's see here. This is the side, and that is a flap at the top. So we just go like that. Pop, 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 and a flap at the side. Perfect. Don't need any of those lines. I don't know exactly what that piece is. I will need to check. I do know there's a pretty harsh undercut right there, so I'm actually going to leave those lines sort of as they are right here. Yeah, there we go. Let's see. Oh, hey, there's the other half of the faceplate there. Whew. Happy New Year, everybody. This is going very well. Go. There's not a ton of undercuts on the top here. There is sort of a flap on the sides. And there is one undercut at the outer edge of them. This can just go like that. Close. I overdid it just a little. That's what I want. Because it got an undercut, and then we have some extra flap. Right there. Perfect. See, it's a little jagged for my taste, which is part of the reason that I initially was not super jazzed about putting this together, because you can see that's like a really harsh line when it should be very smooth, which is okay. It's totally fine, but could have been better, I think. No disrespect to Sinner. He's doing good work for like absolutely free. What does Jesus say? Jesus says, love the sinner. Ah, that was a bad joke. I'll show myself out of my own studio. Here we go. Now, got those undercuts there. So what would you suggest for a beginner as a first Star Wars related project? Honestly, for a first Star Wars project, I think you can't actually go wrong with most of the troopers. I think you're going to learn a lot from them. If you're looking for something that's like small to just sort of start to learn stuff, I mean, Mando Bucket's a dime a dozen. And I mean like any Mandalorian. I'm not just talking about like the titular Mandalorian. Like I think somewhere, I think on an older Pep Tuesday, we unfolded a generic Mando bucket. And it's a really easy pattern. It's a really easy helmet to put together. It's basically just dome, bucket. And you can paint it up pretty much however you want, because like canonically, there's just a ton of Mandalorians. There we go. Yep, that should be good. Here we go. Like, that could be really good. Otherwise, I don't know how into some of the expanded stuff you are, but Darth Malgus, he's in the Old Republic. It's an MMO. His breather is a pretty simple thing, but you can dress it up really nice, and of course, it's got like lots of space where you can do metal detailing and whatnot. But honestly, do what you want to make. I mean, what do you want to make? Do you want to make a Phase 1 Clone Trooper? You should make a Phase 1 Clone Trooper. It's a cool design. The shapes are pretty straightforward. I won't say that it's the easiest thing to make, because I think that might be a little too subjective for me. But I mean, just really go for it. Here we go. Don't need that. These are flaps. This, I won't lie, this T-looking piece right here does look like the weirdest part of this whole build. The rest of it seems pretty straightforward. We don't need any of that. Those lines, here we go. Yeah, because this is basically going to just become one piece here. Yep, don't need any of those lines. I actually think that's supposed to be smooth, so I'm going to render it as such. I think this is just a very polygonal model. Here we go. Yeah, because then this all becomes one straight piece right here. Don't need any of that. Actually, don't need most of these lines. I'll be damned. Okay. Yep, I don't think we need any of those lines either. Most of the cuts are pretty clear. Yeah, I don't think we do. Ooh, that's pretty cool. That's pretty simple. Okay, so none of this is necessary. We'll get rid of it. Grab all of this, 3D menu, reset model view, and then control-click removing the pieces that we don't need. Or excuse me, that we want to keep. Go. Then everything, so basically one side of this, plus these central pieces. And then the rest of this will, again, just scoot away so that we can just arrange this pleasantly. This is kind of a big piece, but I do believe in pieces that remove as many seams as possible. I'm a big fan of that. Okay. I think 8 pieces isn't bad. Or excuse me, 8 pages isn't bad, frankly, given the size and complexity of this piece. Let's see if we can get them all onto here. Keep those two together because reasons. These guys can kind of go up and over here. I can jam this right there. This T-looking guy. This T-looking guy. Can I get him on one page? That would actually be really nice from a printing standpoint. I can. There we go. Because then you don't have to sit there and fiddle with getting him on to get like putting together 2 different pages. That's one thing that's really important to note, is that when you're dealing with patterns like this that have pieces sprawling many pages, you got to make sure to print those alignment marks, because otherwise you're not going to be able to align them with any marks. That's rough. It's rough, buddy. Good. To be honest, my plans are to make a full clone trooper. Do it. Do it. No, there's not a better EVA. A lot of people will say, like, what's a good starter project? But honestly, the best starter project is a project that you want to finish, because you'll put the effort in to make sure it gets done. That's really the important thing when getting into this particular hobby, I feel. Okay, hang on. I just got to get this right there. Sweet. So it's 8 pages, but it's a full helmet. That's where we're going to end this one. I think this... Oh, wait. I did not erase one of my lines, and I can't do it in the 3D window. Shoot. Okay. Gotcha. There we go. Sorry, I spied it in the 3D window there. And I was like, that's not right. Here we go. Boop. Perfect. So that's where I'm going to end mine. I'm going to call those patterns done. I am going to now pull up... I was sent a video by Landon because we both decided to unfold this. One of my patrons reached out to me. He was like, I need some help with this. And I was like, I'll take a stab at it, but do you want to take a stab at it? And he was like, I'll take a stab at it. And so he sent me this video. He's also using OBS. So let's see. There's no sound, so we're just going to try and... Can I play this at... Can I play this faster? Wait. I cannot. So we're probably just going to scrub through this a little bit. So it looks like he also sort of went through and... edge defined the 3D model, which is great. That's a great way to go through and do this. Let's see. He did a really good job of defining like the visor and the main ridges of the piece here. So let's see. We sort of scrub through. Oh, okay. So he kind of removes the edges to sort of see where just his cut lines are. That's really smart, actually. It's something I don't do a lot, which is mostly just because I have a pretty good handle on things spatially. But if you're getting overwhelmed by those lines, I mean, by all means, remove some lines. See how he starts making those shapes seem to make more sense. Yeah, no, that's really clever. Well done. Let's see, we're scrub forward a little bit more. Oh, he goes through and does some smoothing. Oh, okay, so he really wanted to smooth in those cheek recesses. Okay, let's see here. Oh, and he's smoothing around these edges too. Hang on, let's see where he goes with this. He's smoothing around a lot of this piece. I don't think I have the rights to that music, so I hopefully that wasn't too much. Oh wow, he's really going to town with the smoothing tool. Interesting. Interesting. So one thing that's worth noting when using the smooth edges tool like this, anywhere that you bring it to a point, so for instance, anywhere like right here, or really anywhere he's bringing it to points, by which I mean more than two edges meeting at one point, it's going to create a sharp point there in the smoothing algorithm. So I don't know where he's going with this, because that's the kind of thing that'll make the model look a little wonky, but can make the patterns really clean. So we'll see. Because yeah, he goes through and, oh wow, he really goes over a lot of these shapes, and oh, I don't know about that. That's gonna round that over. I don't think that's correct. Oh boy. Whoa. Okay, so he clicks go. Ooh. Okay, so this is an interesting choice, and I'll tell you why. Because you'll see there's supposed to be an edge right here. And he wants to round this, and he wants to round that, and he wants to kind of round these. But he hasn't left an edge here. So it's going to round over this entirely. I haven't even checked the rest of it yet. Because now if I... Yeah, so sort of look here. You can see it's creating this sort of wave effect over the top, which could make your patterns very clean, but it makes the model look a little wonky. Hey there, Diaxis. We're just talking about, we're doing a little critique of a patron of mine who has sent in his process of unfolding this Republic Commando helmet by Sinner. And we actually just took a stab at it. Whoop. Here it is. Turned out pretty nice. I gotta say, I like these patterns generally. There's some good flaps for construction. I definitely left some of the pieces big, but there you are. But Landon appears to have gone through and smoothed out some shapes that I think weren't really meant to be smooth. I think this is not correct anymore, which is the danger with using the smoothing tool in Pepakura. You know, you gotta use a pretty light hand. Yep, see, he undoes it. And then he redoes it again. And then he... What is he... Oh, we're at the end. Oh, he just called it there. So one of the things about using auto unfold that's really nice is if you're not super concerned about consolidating your pieces after the fact, and you click avoid page edges, it'll do its best to keep everything on its own page, which can be really nice, especially if you're working on a small project or what have you. You can even go into the 2D menu and have it recalculate the edge, the part layout. So if you were using every single face, it'll try to, shall we say, efficiently put everything on the page. Yeah, of course, Mateus. Glad I could be of assistance. I love doing this kind of stuff. Again, if anybody has any questions, please throw them in the chat. I think that this is really interesting. I think that there are a lot of ways he could have gone further. And weirdly enough, I think there's a couple places that he may have gone too far. I think he smoothed too much in the back. I think he overused the smoothing tool a little bit on the dome. But I really do like the way he smoothed around the faceplate here. I think that looks a lot better objectively than mine does. Now, I would just cut that smooth, of course, when I actually go to do this. But he removes all ambiguity, which is one of the nice things about being able to unfold. I'll release this one, though, because I think that this still turned out really nice. But Landon, I think you took a really good stab at it. I think that there's a lot of places for you to go, and I think you'll discover in constructing this thing that there are places you wanted to consolidate those pieces more. I think that's the big takeaway. But I think that part of what I really wanted to talk about tonight a little bit is that not all PEP files are created equally, and there are definitely files that you'll come across that are easier to unfold for foam. I have not modeled my own stuff too many times. When I have, I try really hard to leave a lot of space for me to be able to, kind of work through this Pepakura stuff pretty quickly. But this model was very chunky. It's a very chunky model. I had to do some fun edits over the top. You guys saw to really try and make sure that this was in a good place. But I kind of want to show you sort of the antithesis of that, which is this TIE Pilot helmet that I found, which is unfolded for paper right now. But I think we're going to see if we can't do something about that, because... Let's see. I'm going to remove flaps because I don't need flaps. Because you can kind of see, even though there's a lot of cross hatching in the guard and whatnot, I think this thing is a very clean model. In fact, if I were to remove this, you can still sort of make out all the major shapes. If I went to View Setup and click Shade, it's pretty clear where all the shapes and forms are. And it doesn't even give you this edge right here, because I would argue, especially from a foam standpoint, it's not really necessary. From a paper standpoint, it's a little weird that there's just a gap there, but I can sort of tell why. I think it's because this guy is this, I think it's the same modeler, Delta 4O, who modeled the Stormtrooper. The Stormtrooper that I just unfolded. Where is it? Oh, that's right, it's not on this computer. Ah, hang on. I bet you I can download it really quickly. Oops. Okay, here we go. Nope, that's not it. Me just reacting to things that are on my screen and not even close to in front of you folks. Oh my gosh. Happy holidays to anybody who's been joining us. This has been a really fun time for me. Let's see. Oh, that's not it. Foamarmory. Here we go. I'm going to download just the helmet here. There it is. So this helmet was modeled by Delta 4O. I try really hard to make sure that I'm properly identifying people on templates and whatnot. If you guys ever stumble on stuff that I've misidentified, please let me know, because I try very, very hard to either reach out to these creators directly, or if they've already credited the work, making sure they're properly credited. But this was made by Delta 4O. That's 4 spelt out and O spelt OH. And I really like this Stormtrooper helmet. I think it's the most accurate in terms of... say, the actual hero stunt helmets, which is part of what I like about it. I do think the dome's a little collapsed, but I think when you make it out of foam, it will sort of perk up a little bit, which is good. Daniel O'Meara asks, thank you, Diaxis. I really appreciate that. And I really appreciate his work too, because this is a really great model to work from. There's a lot of faces, which means that there's a lot of chances for me to sort of smooth things together, which I think is really the best part. Sorry, Daniel O'Meara asks, how do you get onto Pepakura? I can't open it. You know what? I'm just going to do this real quick because I think it's worth noting. So Pepakura is a free software from Tomasoft. Tomasoft make Pepakura Designer. It's their invention. This is it right here. Their website, tomasoft.co.jp. Super great software. It is free. You can download it for free. And if you want to be able to save in Designer, it's a $38 flat fee. I gave away a code when we hit 500 subscribers. And I think the folks who got it are really sort of enjoying it. It's fun because it's not like a program like Adobe where you've got a monthly subscription. It's a one-time fee, and they do good work. They put updates out there. It's worth supporting them, frankly, and it's just $38. You can download that, and then you can open .pdo files with either the viewer or the designer. Viewer will let you just view the model. For instance, if I were to open this in Viewer, sorry, I almost never use Viewer anymore because of course, I'm designing all the time. But if I were to open this in Viewer, let's see, you can see it'll show you the 3D model, it'll show you the parts here, and it'll show you the way that they all connect too. See that? But you can't manipulate it at all. It'll just let you see what each of these parts is, which is one of the reasons I really love using Pepakura, because you can download PDFs of these templates. I'm not barring anybody from doing that, especially not people who are on like Mac and just really can't. But Pepakura really makes your life a lot easier as a crafter, I think. So it's worth giving it a go. But as I was saying, I think Delta 4.0 also modeled this one because it's the exact same rebreather and faceplate, which is great for me because it means I'm basically just going to do it the exact same way I just did it. So I figured for the last 10 minutes or so of this, I'm not going to apply open edge info. It's going to do it anyways, I guess. LOL. But I am actually going to reset all those model edges. Reset, cut line edges. And I'm going to just start unfolding this. One of the interesting things I think about the original trilogy is the fact that this shape on the TIE pilot helmet is actually the exact same shape on the X-Wing helmet. It just has like some more stuff to it. Like this earpiece isn't present on the X-Wing helmet, but this sort of like hand shape on the back, this sort of like hitchhiker's thumb on the on the back of the helmet there it's the same, which I think is really cool. There we go. Well, that's great. Double clicking when you're doing these open edges. When you download it, how do you open it? So, like downloading any piece of software, you're going to need to essentially let it execute. So there'll be a .exe file, which is its setup. So when you first download it, it'll want to run up like a setup wizard. It'll make sure to unpack all the files so that you have the program on your, kind of like downloading a game. Or if you've ever used Internet Explorer to download Chrome, it just needs to download onto your computer first. It's not a file in and of itself. Are you asking? I'm confused, Daniel. Are you asking how to open a file once you've downloaded it, or are you asking how to open Pepakura once you have downloaded it? Because you should be able, during the setup process, to have it put, say, a desktop icon up. Or I actually have it on my start menu. I keep it there because I do this all the heckin' time. What is going on there? Is this not connected there? I'm confused. Hang on. Oh, no, it's not connected there, which means I don't need to try to connect it there. That's great. I like that. At a certain point, as educational as I do want to be, I don't know exactly how to walk you through on your own computer downloading and installing a new program just in general. I don't know if I can. I don't know if I have the wherewithal to do that. Might just be me. I'm not trying to be rude or anything. I actually just don't know what the best way to do that would be. Especially since part of the like setup process for me would be to redo my code, and I don't want to stream that. Because distributing free codes that you didn't pay for, that's not good. That's piracy. And the good folks at Tomasoft work very, very hard on their program, and we thank them for it. So I don't want to contribute to that. I do know that there are people who try to. I think that they should perhaps look deep in your heart and say, is $38 really that much to spend to support something that you obviously use enough to need to like save and do things on a lot? maybe that's just me. Open it once you've downloaded it. Okay, so I'm guessing what you're asking is how to open a .pdo file once you've downloaded it. So I think the easiest way to explain that would actually just to be to open Pepakura and then go to the open file, find the PDO, for instance, this PDO that we just made, and there it is. Otherwise, when you just open Pepakura, my desktop. Otherwise, when you just open Pepakura, it doesn't have anything in it. You've got to open a file. So, there we go. All right, winding down. I don't think we're going to finish this tonight, but this definitely won't be the subject of next week's. I think this will just be part of my ongoing love affair with making lots and lots of different types of trooper helmets. For those of you who weren't here, actually that might be what I do with the rest of this live stream. For those of you who weren't here, yes, I want to say this. Last week, we've actually unfolded a ton of these already. So like I said, in the description down below, there's links to Stormtrooper templates that we whipped up on stream. Some of them was off stream, but thanks to all the modelers who helped work on that. But we've got, we've got a Biker Scout Trooper that's really pretty. We've got a Phase 1 Clone Trooper, which we talked a lot about tonight, Mateus. And I think that you'll find that works out that's pretty clean. That'll come together really nicely. We've got, I do have a Commando basic helmet by Zakic. Zakic's Jesus Rodriguez, for those of you who know him, he's a really nice guy. Does a really great job modeling for these kinds of things. I have finished this, I edited this model of a Shore Trooper, which I think looks really nice now, as well as I just finished, yes, this Tank Trooper, who I have not found the modeler. I got it off of some site called Caterbox, I think, Caterbox. It looks really good though. It's got a good texture to it, but this thing looks really pretty, and it's featured recently on The Mandalorian, which I think was really, really cool. And then I'm still working on some other things. Like I've got this TFA helmet that I like it a lot, but let me tell you that printing this thing out would be a big pain in the butt, just given how many pages it sort of spans across. Yeah, Diaxis has got the hookup here. He knows what's up. For those of you who don't know, Diaxis is really, really big in the Pepakura community. He's very good at what he does. So he knows what he's talking about. Me, I'm kind of talking about my butt sometimes when we do these streams, but I do hope they help some people. Oh, and then I've got this Sith Trooper by Diz K, which I think is really cool. If I were to critique this in the same way that we sort of critique some of the other models tonight, the only thing that's kind of rough about this model is that a lot of the texture is really bound up. A lot of the details really bound up in the texture. The good news is that that's pretty easy to follow with some of these lines. Like for instance, if I were to undo this unfold, just undo it. If I were to say, well, I'd really like to keep those lines in without having the texture, I could say, divide some edges to try and get exactly where I want it to be. So now that sort of follows that line here. And I could go like this. I don't know, you can kind of work your way up there and then smooth a line up there. These are all sort of backdoor workarounds to the ultimate problem, which is that I would just kind of want to move the mesh a little bit to more line up with that. But it's a really good model overall. The shape is really good, which I think is more important, because the Sith Trooper helmets were really weird because they had these really harsh angles that weren't present on like the original First Order helmets. Like the original First Order helmets, you'll note were just super, no, I don't want to say that. We're just super round, which is part of why these patterns are just super wavy. Yeah. I think I can still consolidate this a little more. I digress. It's 8 o'clock, so I think we're gonna kind of wind down here. I really want to thank everybody who showed up. These are really fun for me. I love doing these live streams. I love answering questions. So thank you everybody who showed up, had questions, answered questions. That was great. I do have a Patreon. If you like these streams, if you like my videos and these free templates, check that out over there. I tend to release some of these things just in advance over there, but they do make their way out here eventually if you're not so inclined. But I want to thank all my patrons. I want to thank everybody for showing up. This has been a ton of fun. Stay safe. Happy holidays. Happy New Year. And as always, take care.